Well, thank you, Nick, for being willing to come on and share your experiences with helping us put together our virtual fall screening event. I
Glad to
appreciate
be here.
you. Tell me what the hardest part of the coordination and training for the virtual fall risk screening was in 2020.
I'd say the hardest part was coordinating different schedules and distributing updates between the volunteers, which came from two separate universities, supervisors, also a couple separate universities, and then the participants who have each their own schedule. We started by trying to give each participant a one on one call for an info session first, and then in that call, scheduling a separate technology session. But it ended up being hard to fit within our time frame. It was a bit too much for a simple Excel sheet to handle, in my opinion. So I had to adjust partway through and come up with a more automated system and found something online.
Yes, that was quite chaotic. I do remember you pulling your hair out a few times or two. What was the easiest part about setting it all up?
Surprisingly, the technology call itself, I think, was fairly straightforward. I had a checklist to make sure their environment was safe. The video call software we used was user friendly and it only required some minimal training for each participant, maybe some help with the mute button. They caught on pretty quick for the most part. I would just send them a link through the email.
Okay, so can you talk to us about the different technology that we utilized?
The list of technology that I utilized throughout this was Zoom was the web conferencing, just standard email. I used some Excel documents in tandem with that automated scheduling, Word PDF editors. The automated scheduling we used was signup.com. There's resources on the internet for that one and others. For devices, some of the participants used tablets. Those using the desktop computers were actually a little harder to set up their environment just because it didn't move as easy. And it's also good to note that there's different experience levels with technology. Like one participant had a very specific shortcut to her email on her desktop, and that had been moved during a computer update. So she actually required in person help to help troubleshoot that issue. For the most part, most people were able to handle it pretty well.
Yeah, and I remember once we troubleshooted that one issue, even that participant was able to consistently get online.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how did you feel prepared to conduct the technology and the setup of the patients for this situation?
Well, personally, I felt confident from a previous job I had had in IT support in a call center. So it was actually really nice to have the video part of it to work with. I had a safety checklist that I got from the supervisors. They had their emergency contacts to ensure the safety. And then just previous coursework and conversations with the supervisors helped me know what to look for because I frequently had to think on the fly and suggest modifications to the environment, help them move furniture around, or suggest that they move rugs out of the way.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, you did really so much for us, and we know that it would not have gone as smoothly without your help. I was sure glad that I had wanted a technology savvy teaching assistant that year. Little did I know how much it would come in handy. But
No kidding.
to wrap up, what were the barriers, or what do you suggest that we do going forward to make providing virtual fall screenings and virtual fall education programming uh, go smoothly?
With so many moving pieces like we had between the different parties, I just recommend to get your supervisors or your volunteer schedules set before working on recruiting participants. Or like we had fairly flexible volunteer slots. So alternatively, you could use less flexible volunteer slots and just fill those up. Start
Mhm.
scheduling participants earlier. Documentation is going to be good too because sometimes you'll help a participant set up their environment and then they'll hop on the call and it'll be something completely different. So good screenshots to see how you actually set up their environment in the first place. It can be helpful as well.
I really liked those screenshots we started doing. That was helpful to know how you had talked them through it and then be able to recoach them since they had seemingly moved situations back to their original spots, right? The
Mhm.
furniture and things. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you think to add, or did we cover it
That's what
pretty well?
that's what I've got. We covered it. Thank you, Dr. Nash.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.